weight enough flex. The live is one in the six. With the runner, boy, you nigga, no question. You would run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Yeah, buddy. Feels good to be home. Yeah, buddy. Come on in, smash the like button. Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. There's some things I want to get to. Let's do this roll call real quick. One deep. Salute to you, brother. He was chit-chatting with Michael Hunter. He said, I feel like Michael Hunter versus Moses Atuma is going to happen. Maybe. One deep out there putting in work. Salute, man. Bernard Gilbert, Macados, Mac of the South, Shogun. Robert Singleton, Bionic Prince, Delano, Firearm Sniper, Rod Neal, Anwar Willis, K-Rod, my brother BFTB in the building, Hendall, Snoop over there on Rumble, Hassan, Steve Elder Mac, Brooklyn Born, TX Stepper. I'm telling y'all right now, oh shoot. I'm telling y'all right now, let's do this. Paste. That's the Rumble link. It's getting pinned. All right. Y'all already know. When I feel the show's about to go left, I'm putting it over here and I'm putting it on the Painful Excellence podcast. It's pinned. When I feel it's about to go left, what I'm going to do is tell y'all, make the lateral move to Rumble. All right. So we won't be disturbed. Tim Harmon, salute. Louis Hatton, salute. You know, we won't get disturbed by Miguel and his antics. And Sensei, what's good, brother?
What's happening, man? Great Sunday to everybody. We're coming out of another fascinating weekend of a ton of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
So much that even some of the stuff that was supposed to take place didn't take place. Boxing is just in a great place. Do you remember we did a show on your Strong House episode one night, and you had one of the guests on? I don't know which fighter it was, but we were talking on the subject of we need more boxing.
Yeah.
That we weren't getting, you know, and then when we were getting, it was like cards opposite each other and everything.
Yeah.
Boy, as you say, asking thou shall receive. Man, boxing started this week, you guys, Thursday.
Yep.
With Aslis Iglesias for the IBF super middleweight title against Pavan Silyagan. And then we went through Friday with Pro Box, had a great card. Then, of course, we had multiple cards on Saturday with the Netflix and another Pro Box show. But a lot of people aren't aware that there was a Triller pay-per-view. And then there was Juan Francisco Estrada fighting in Japan early Saturday morning, like around 4 o'clock in the morning, when he got stopped. So we had, I mean, a boatload of boxing, man. And I'm just excited for it because this is what I had been asking for a couple of years ago when we had that show and we were talking about it. So the postman has delivered.
Right. And for y'all that don't know, if you say boxing is dead and it's boring for you right now, that just means your favorite fighter's not doing what you require him to do. That's why the sensei always says, watch the sport, you know, because your favorite fighter might let you down. Now, you mentioned the name Aslis Iglesias. Caught a knockout, caught a body bag a couple of days ago, did he not?
He did. And it turned out to be a test for him because the Russian opponent, Silyagan, just didn't lay down. He had to work him through and broke him down, you know. So that was good that we got to see a little bit more of Iglesias because he is an offensive juggernaut.
Yeah.
But there are going to be some people won't be able to stand up to what he has to offer. And then those who are a little bit more durable He's gonna have to bring the skill set out.
Yeah.
And that was only his 15th professional fight.
I like what he's bringing so far. So, we got our eye on him. And shout out to our brother Jose Diaz, because he's the one that mentioned his name to me. And I said, let me pay attention. So Iglesias, I got my eye on him. So far, so good. I got my eye on him.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of boxing to talk about, but I want to address the nonsense, and it's my job to keep balance, so y'all could see us. I need to keep balance in this realm of boxing. First of all, y'all come on in, smash my like button, share the video, hype the video, and we're gonna keep this true. We had a fight over the weekend with the Michelin man, Tyson Fat Fury, and this Neanderthal, Makhmudov. And I'm not disrespecting him. I'm just saying I'm not impressed. This guy was made to order. We've seen this guy lose to Adjit Kabiel, who is the real force at heavyweight, but nobody wants to talk about that. I wonder why. We've been speaking of Adjit Kabiel, for a while now, and somehow when I played the audio, when Mauricio Silliman says that Adjit Kabiel is perfectly fine being an interim champion, I don't understand how y'all let him get away with things like that. I don't understand why the internet should have been on fire after he said that. But we don't speak up. We're just pro-black, and no, I believe in fairness. Adjit Kabiel needs his shot. He needs his position. Check the body of work. Makhmudov got stopped by Kabiel. He ain't stand a chance. Okay, Zhilei Zhang stopped. Okay, what's his name? I'm having a brain fart right now. What's his name? The Cuban Flash got stopped. This guy's on an absolute tear. As a matter of fact, he's so official. When they had him on stage and they had all of Queensberry, Coach, I see you. They had Queensberry fighters all on the stage. You saw Daniel Dubois, Lawrence Okoli. You had all those guys on stage. Why they had Adjit Kabiel standing on the opposite stage by himself? Because that man is an absolute terror. And they're downplaying him, and it's not fair. Now, you heard me. I've been saying this for a while now. And he's paying sanctioning fees on an interim belt, and that does not mean he gets a shot at Usyk. Usyk gets to do what he wants. Listen, Usyk, respectfully, beat up Rico. Get out the sport, man. Nobody's going to ask you to do anything. You've done it all. You ducked Deontay. Nobody wants to hear that you did that. But we have receipts. You did do it. But no one's going to hold you accountable for doing it. And they're cool by saying, hey, he beat him anyway. All right, cool. Get out the way, man. Give up that belt so there can be another tournament. And we can see who comes through. Smoke and Talk Podcast. Salute. I was on a podcast with my brother. Go subscribe to Smoke and Talk Podcast. He's a reaction channel. Salute to you. That's my fam. Real Baltimore. That's real Baltimore right there. Salute to you, good brother. So that's my rant about Adjit Kabiel. I want to talk about Tyson Fury. As y'all know, I don't like him. So I need you to know that. If you're new here, you're not going to hear me talk this guy up in any positive manner. It has nothing to do with me being a bomb squad. It has nothing to do with that. This guy's a cancer to the sport. This guy's a cheater. He's great friends with a drug trafficking, gun trafficking, human trafficking, Irish mobster who's still at large with a $5 million bounty on his head. That's his best friend. He's no longer allowed on American soil. And ESPN will never tell you that. DAZN doesn't speak on that. Nobody at Ring speaks on that. They just applaud when Fury wags his tongue as he's throwing out a goddamn jab. They never say anything. And when it's a black fighter, if he farts in his locker room, they're going to tell you how stink it was. So don't look for me to say anything positive about Tyson Fury. I can't do it. I mean, speaking of cancer, he could find the cure for cancer. I don't care. I will never credit him for anything in life. I do not like this guy. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because, well, let me ask y'all in the chat. Can y'all count? Who can count? We have adults in my damn chat. Y'all can all count to 10, right? Can I ask y'all a question? Round one. How many clinches were there between him and Makhmudov? How many? How many? By the time we got to the end of round two, how many clinches were there? Can y'all tell me? All right, here's my third question. How many clinches was in round one? How many clinches at the end of round two? My third question is this. You ready? What happened to the goddamn clinch counter? Because I remember there was one. All you Devin Haney haters. What fight did they start a quote-unquote clinch counter? What fight was that? And let me educate you. Why are y'all talking to me like I didn't go through a decade of Vladimir Klitschko? Why y'all talking to me like I didn't go through at least a good 4 years of watching John Ruiz? And salute to John. He's a friend of the Strong House. But I told him when he was up here, I said, yo, your style, it was somewhat of an eyesore, but John Ruiz didn't duck no smoke. I gave him credit. But y'all know what I'm talking about. There was never a clinch counter for that. Y'all don't even know what, JC, my brother, salute. Y'all don't even know when the clinch counter started. But it should have started against Vladimir Klitschko. By the end of round two, there was like 15 to 16 clinches. By the end of round two, nobody said anything. And I listened. Nobody said anything. Can y'all count? And then y'all get upset. And y'all know who I'm talking to. Let me move this up here. Do you know why I put those pictures there? Teddy Atlas, Simon Jordan, Larry Merchant, Max Kellerman. This mofo that bit his wife. Let me ask y'all a question. Okay. I ask y'all a question. Jim Lampley. Do y'all know he has a bit of a criminal record? Do y'all know that? You know he beat his woman? You know about that? Do y'all ever talk about that? Do you ever talk about that? Do y'all remember when he referred to Floyd Mayweather Jr. as a son of a bitch when he left HBO and went to Showtime? Do you remember that? I was listening that night. He referred to him as a son of a bitch. The man who was keeping HBO afloat. That was at the time the pay-per-view king and the king of boxing. He referred to Floyd as a son of a bitch. Y'all remember these things?
He called him something far worse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I could make a mixtape of how disrespectful Larry Merchant was to all kinds of black fighters. Bernard Hopkins, Larry Holmes, Floyd Mayweather. Do you know Max Kellerman stole Champ Side's entire criteria in real time about a pound for pound list? Y'all know. It happened in real time. We were like, I was listening like, oh shit, didn't Champ Side just? Yeah. Teddy Atlas, you want me to talk about Teddy Atlas? Y'all praise him because he's such a knowledgeable guy. But don't ever forget this. If you see this meme anywhere, know that the night this happened, I took a picture of my TV because I couldn't believe he said that straight to Bud and Andre Ward. Both undefeated, both black. And after Bud, I think he just beat Ndongo this night. I could be wrong. Unprovoked, Teddy Atlas told them straight to their face, I think Lomachenko's #1 pound for pound. Can y'all count? Can y'all count? Let me ask you a question. What happened to get it back in blood? How many times have you heard that? When Devin was chasing around Ryan Garcia. How many times you've heard that? Get it back in blood. Did Lomachenko get it back with Orlando Salido?
Yeah, I was just about to say, let's slow it down on the can you count part, because let's count the number of fights that Lomachenko had at that time when Teddy was trying to say what he was saying about those two men in front of them on Bud's night of victory. And how many fights was Bud at that time, and Ward, where was he at with his career at that time? The number of fights. So it's like both men undefeated, both men, well, Ward would go on to be undisputed, but Bud was already an undisputed champion with the victory over in Ghana. What is it? In Ghana, in
Francis,
the African brother that he
Julian Ndongo.
Ndongo,
yeah.
Those names, I get them mixed up.
Yeah.
So,
very close, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was interesting is, and salute to Tay, she's hollering me out there in the chat. What's interesting is that Bud, for all he had accomplished, was 30 wins in, 30 plus. Ward, I think, was 20 plus, almost 30, or right, because close to 30. So this guy, Loma, only had 14 fights and had already lost in his second
career fight. Second. Can y'all count? Can you count?
His second career fight. But wait, it gets better. He didn't want to run it back.
What?
You don't say. Let me ask y'all a question. And salute to my brother Delano. Y'all reading that? Can I ask y'all a question? After which fight, what number did they start putting Triple G and Marvin Hagler in the same sentence? Can y'all count? Because I missed it. All I know is I'm watching HBO one day and then I start seeing Marvin Hagler shadow box. I'm like, what are they doing? Wait, whoa. No, he's not that. Whoa. It's premature. What are you doing? Not yet. What number? At what number did they say, hey, this guy's on Hagler's level? Let me explain something to you. He's not even on Bernard Hopkins' level. How do you leapfrog Bernard Hopkins and go straight to Hagler? Can y'all count? Can y'all count? Now, don't accuse me of being, we making it a black thing. I just opened up the show talking about Adji Cabiel getting robbed of all kinds of, I don't know, what is going on? What is going on? What does he have to do? But never mind that.
Let's not forget Jim Lampley's bullshit Gotti list.
Stormy. All right, let's park there for a minute. Bro, let me be very clear. If I'm training a fighter, if I am a fighter, I don't want to be anywhere near anything that is called a Gotti list. Have y'all watched, and I say this respectfully, have y'all watched Arturo Gatti? He either won in outstanding fashion because they called him the Blood and Guts Warrior. Why do you think he had that name? Exciting to watch. Why? Because when he lost, did he not lose big? I mean big. Knocked all sideways out. The last fight I saw him on HBO, he had a split in his lip. It looked like a bloody woman's in between. We're still on YouTube, y'all. I don't want to be anywhere near anything that's called a Gaddy list. This is who they want y'all to be. Not a Sweet Pea Whitaker list. A Gaddy list. Gaddy list. Why? Why is Otero popular? And rest in peace to his son, because his son met a similar fate. We ain't gonna talk about that. Something going on. Gaddy list. You're bugging. And y'all listening to these HBO fools? Let me shorten the picture. I put these fools here for a reason.
And listen, let's count this. Included in all the effery. Anytime they want to deem these fighters great, who are they always comparing them to?
A black fighter to dethrone. You know, Triple G.
Why they don't go back to the old Italian and Jewish and Irish fighters of yore? Because they were great fighters. But why are they always trying to put them over the great black fighters?
Stormy, what black fighter in history was ever compared to Rocky Marciano? I'll wait. Anyone? I don't recall. I'm asking because I don't know.
I can't think of one.
It's always been Ali, Joe Louis, Hank Armstrong, Ray Robinson. I've never heard of a fighter get compared to Rocky Marciano. It's never happened. But I'll tell you what did happen. When Ivory Holmes was so fed up with the disrespect and he said Rocky couldn't hold my jock strap. Oh, man.
The world cracked in half, didn't it?
The world broke in half. Dragons were resurrected. World War III almost commenced. I think that was the start of Osama bin Laden. You'd have thought that was Larry Holmes' fault. Unbelievable. Hold on. Wild stuff. Wild stuff. And I'm just asking the question, y'all. If there was any fighter in this era that was ever compared to any white fighter, just let me know. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. And I'm bringing all of this up for a reason, because I'm going to reveal to y'all a conversation that I had with somebody. Just let me know. But let's talk about y'all remember Big Hero 6, that movie? It's Tyson Fury, the Michelin Man. He's the first fighter that I've ever seen to grow titties on his hips. Never seen anything like this. This is like amazing stuff. I'm not sold on this dude. And what's worse is Anthony Joshua is a boo dissy. But let's not make this about AJ. I'll dedicate a day to him some other time. Tyson Fury is disgusting, but he exists off the heels of white supremacy. I asked, can y'all count? And I asked y'all to count the clinches between rounds 1 and the end of round 2. Nobody said anything disrespectful in reference to Makhmudov, his performance, which was ridiculous. Nobody said anything about Tyson Fury's lack of power, which was ridiculous. That's gone. But no one's saying anything. You know, remember Sugar Hill said, I told him how to turn his punches. So if he told him how to turn his punches, there should have been more skulls being cracked. It's never happened. All right. This guy went 12 rounds with Tyson Fury and there was no bone crushing power. But buffoons like these guys, Merchant, Lampley, Kellerman, Simon Jordan. Oh, I'm not the Fury guy. I'm not the Fury guy. But you waited until Deontay came to your show after all these times just to say, I think you made an excuse about your suit being heavy. It's bollocks. You stupid ass colonizer. All right. You were in the same boat as Tyson Fury. I don't care if you sat there and said, I'm not a Fury guy. You're a POS, and I hope you perish in a car fire. I mean that. I put Teddy Atlas there as an example. What he said to Andre Ward and Bud Crawford, completely unprovoked. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only person that saw that. He dead ass told them that. And Ward was still active at that time. That was before the two Kovalev fights. And that was right before the Henry Bracellus fight. I mean, Henry Bracellus, no. Who did he fight before he fought Kovalev? His last name began with a B. It wasn't Henry Bracellus. That was a guy that Floyd beat up. I forgot. But that was before he went to 175, man. When KK Kovalev was the killer, the crusher, killed someone in the ring. Oh, Andre, don't bully Triple G. Although Triple G was trying to go to 68 to fight Chavez Jr., they told him, don't bother Triple G. Go up in weight and fight KK Kovalev. And he went up in weight, didn't ask for a catch weight or nothing. He went up there and handled business, not once, but twice. But prior to that, Teddy Atlas said, I think Lomachenko's #1 pound for mother effing pound. You really said that, bro? Straight to their face, man. No chaser. Can y'all count? Count the levels of disrespect. You on mute, brother.
You know what that was like? It was like Teddy had gotten so fed up with the present day circumstances of black dominance in the sport, that he couldn't hold it no more.
Yeah, these guys can't help
let it out. Now he didn't come out with expletives and using words and rhetoric that Larry Merchant would later use, you know, with Floyd Mayweather. But boy, I'd be damned if he wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
And the worst part of that is this. Teddy came up under the tutelage of Cus D'Amato. Cus D'Amato had 3 champions, Jose Torres, Floyd Patterson, and Mike Tyson, that were they were prominent fighters in their careers, each of them for different reasons, and they all had different personalities, but had success. So Teddy, under the tutelage of Cus, understood that Cus knew the mind of fighters. But his privileged background, which is probably, I will say alleged, but Teddy, you know, he's got a severe injury, and you can see it on him every day that he walks this earth.
Yep.
But it probably happened because of that inner self. Probably.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
If I was a guessing betting man, I would say that was born of that. But see, it's that type of loss of discipline that can put you in a bad position. Now, when he said that to those 2 young men on television like that, he should have just held that to himself, because who became his world champion? Do you remember?
His world,
Teddy's world champion. Let me help you real quick.
Oh, Michael Moore.
Michael Moore. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mook, what up, Mook?
And what color is Michael Moore? What ethnicity?
Yep.
Put him on the map, didn't he?
Yep. Sure did.
No, Robert Singleton. Go
Michael
back
Moore.
and check your history, brother.
You said heavyweight.
No,
it wasn't Tim Bradley. It was Michael Moore.
I said who became his first champion.
First
Tim Bradley came years later, that he worked with Tim Bradley. Years later. But the whole point of that is that he got put on the map because he was riding the coattails of what Cuss had taught him, but Cuss had a different sense toward the fight game. He was a very secretive man. He had contacts and people in dark places as well as well-to-do. But Cuss was a fighter's trainer. He was. And that's why Teddy and Cuss clashed when it came to young Mike Tyson with some of the issues Mike would have and everything. But it's just that Cuss was at an advanced age, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I believe had he not been at such an advanced age and he could have been with Mike a little longer, you know, things could have been a lot different for Mike. Because, you know, being able to read someone who has talent, ability, and something within. Do you know that Cuss and Ali were great friends?
Yeah. And I got something to say to that.
When Ali was going into his fight against George Foreman, it was Cuss that told Ali he's a sucker for the right hand. And with the speed that you have, you can hit him with lead rights. Go back and watch the fight between Ali and Foreman. In the first round, I think Ali threw about 8 lead right hands. And most of them landed on George Foreman's chin. Cuss and Ali had a special relationship. They even documented it, some of it on film. But they would talk to each other on the phone and everything. So where is that prejudice, that bias, that bigoted sensibility that comes from a lot of these guys? Cuss didn't display that. He told Floyd Patterson, don't fight Sonny Liston. He told him, this guy will knock you into the mouth, Floyd. He tried to tell him. But Floyd wanted, you know, he didn't want the press talking about him and he's running and this and that. And hey, history became what it was. But see, this is what, when I say these things, I want people to understand. You got certain folks out there, like what we're talking about now, they show that bias and the bigotry and the prejudice. Then you have others who live above that. Ray Arcel with Roberto Duran. A third world countryman that Arcel came across his path and he resurrected Arcel's life and career because he had run afoul of some bad folks and he couldn't make money off of boxing anymore as one of the best trainers of his era, Ray Arcel. But when he found Duran, he was like, man, I got to train this kid. He's great, you know? And basically, Duran took care of Arcel because he couldn't make the money the correct way because of the interference that was run by people who was trying to run him away from the sport.
Right.
So, you know, when you talk about bias, prejudice, and bigotry in boxing, there are a number of fighters who have been, that's why it's so disappointing for Teddy. You know, when you saw him behave like that, and then later when he's talking to Tim Bradley on television and pat him on the head like a dog.
Pat him on the head like a dog. You see, you pick shit up like that. I picked it up immediately, bro. Do you remember, Stormy, when he flipped on Big George at a press conference and he literally shoved him? I'm like, he got to know George would get up and knock him in the next week, but he did it.
He didn't believe that George was the man that he had become. You know, he tried, especially when it led up to the fight between Mora and George, because that's when he was training Michael. And he was like, you're a con man, you're a con man. But George had really become who he had become.
That's right.
You know, 10 years away from the sport, totally humbled, came back for the most positive of reasons to get money for his church.
That's it.
You know, George
he
had
wasn't even take it as far as it was.
And people can become different like that.
Yeah.
You know, And that doesn't mean that you can't bring some old George out of him, but you have to press and prod and do things. But during that whole time, George was like, you know, and do you know George even showed it to a different extent in his later years, shortly before he passed away. You know, George, when he found out that his power was still there and he could really, the realization that he would become heavyweight champion was there and before him, he started calling for Mike Tyson.
He did.
We want Tyson. We want Tyson. He was calling for him. In his later years, shortly before passing, he said, oh, no, I didn't really want to fight Mike Tyson. You know, he was like, what would I do in there against Mike Tyson? Do you see the humbleness?
Yeah.
Because he did want Tyson. He did. And he would have smoked him. But again, George being classy went out classy.
Sure did.
And that's what these young people today need to recognize and realize when someone like myself or you, and we're on here and we're talking about these things, and you put it all together so you have a solid foundation to stand upon when you hear we speak on what we speak on.
Let me read you something. A man who views the world the same at 50 as he did at 20 has wasted 30 years of his life. Muhammad Ali. This fella, Asaf B4G, wrote in my comment section on my other channel, Wilder doesn't have the brain power or vocabulary to express his thoughts coherently, so he resorted to an emotional outburst when he found himself in a verbal sparring match with Simon Jordan. This man has an avatar of Muhammad Ali dropping the gym. Asaf, capital A, capital S, A, lowercase AV. You need to change your avatar and just put a penis there. Because you're a dick. You're a dick, and that's why I blocked you. First and foremost, you need to understand where you are. I don't tolerate any Deontay Wilder disrespect on my channel at all. At all. For you to come in here, and I bet you you're black doing that. There's nothing but monkeys that talk like that. And you're probably British. You're probably British, and you're a knuckle dragging, big lip monkey. I bet you. I bet you. How are you gonna have an avatar of Ali drop in the gym and then talk crazy about Deontay Wilder? Did you watch it? Did you understand why Wilder said why he got angry? Talking race, especially.
First of all, let me just say this about that. Wilder told the man directly, I don't want to talk about that. We're here to talk about Chisora and I. Chisora's just sitting a couple of feet from him. Yeah. And Simon Jordan got disrespectful. See, don't rule that out. What's the guy's name?
Asaf.
Yeah.
Asaf. Yeah.
Sad ass. You don't rule out where the disrespect came from. See, if you're somewhere and someone says something to you and you say, hey man, no problem, it is what it is, and then they get disrespectful with you, then it's time to put them in their place. And how you put them in their place, they don't get to choose that.
That's right.
Because they went there where you didn't want to go. So now if you drag them down into the depths of a hell that they can't exist in, whose fault is that? Doesn't it always come back to a word that I use on my channel 1000% of the time? Accountability. So why don't you take your butt somewhere and find some? And as Drew suggested, get Ali the hell off of your avatar.
That's disgusting, bro. That's disgusting. And I know you're a black person with that. I know you're a black person. That's why I blocked you. Because you're disgusting. I saw what you wrote. But I made sure I went to your channel, and you, of all things, you have an Ali avatar. You slave, you are out your cotton picking mind. If you're British, you might not understand that that's a bar. That's what we call a bar. You slave. You're disgusting. The man said, I'm not a Fury guy. But he waited literally 3 years later to do that at that moment. You got two black fighters. One was British. They were supposed to be talking about the fight. But he had the Fury thing on his mind. And guess what? He said he's not a Fury guy. So why are you even talking that whole situation up? And you know you're not a Fury guy because you know what kind of person Fury is.
And he's not a Wilder guy either, even more so. But check this out. This shows how dumb Simon Jordan is, stupid Simon Jordan is, ignorant that Simon Jordan is. Because he never had the chance to sit and talk with Wilder in this type of environment and circumstance before in the past at all. There's an old saying of killing people with kindness. He could have been respectful and genuine with Wilder to a degree and say, hey, be self-effacing, saying, you know, I've been wanting to have a sit down with you for the longest of time. Mm-hmm. I respect your body of work and things that you have accomplished. It's great to have you here. Honey lips, sweet to the soul. But again, like I said about these guys and Atlas and Lampley, they couldn't hold that bias, bigoted, prejudiced aspect out of the colonizer's heart. So he had to attack right away.
He had to. He had to. Hey, Sav, do you see the white men I have in this picture? You didn't agree with anything that we said about every guy on this picture, Tyson Fury included. You went straight at Wilder, and I bet you're black. I bet you are. I bet you are, because this is what you monkey, you big lip knuckle dragging chimpanzees do. This is why. This is why. And I don't respect you. And this is why I do what I do, which brings me to this. So now that we know that y'all can't count, I'm not talking about y'all in the chat, I'm talking about y'all, the media personnel. Now that we know that y'all can't count and y'all are insanely biased, let's go to my conversation I had. I was in the airport, and I normally don't read my comments unless they come in abundance, like this dude. All right. This guy named NoY_Vil. Now, y'all know I was critiquing Boots. Let me ask y'all a question. Did I ever say Boots was trash? No. I like Boots. What is my problem with Boots? I, for the life of me, will never agree him going over there to work with Eddie Hearn. He set himself up for failure. That's just as bad as a black fighter signing up for Top Rank. It's ridiculous. So I said that in my life. And here comes a Boots protector. Will you have gotten a cut of the money if Boots did pay Haney for info on being independent? Because if not, your critique is weird as hell, good brother. This is what he says to me. Now, I've said this on numerous occasions. A lot of you fighters, y'all walk around here and y'all smell the nuts of the colonizers. Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum and, all these guys, Oscar De La Hoya. And I'm like, why y'all act like Bill Haney ain't on that level? And all I said was, I would prefer that any one of these guys to reach out to Bill and say, hey, man, put me up on game, Bill. Put me up on game. I see what you're doing with your son. Put me up on game. How do I be independent? Right? Because I don't want to rock with these guys. I see what they're not doing with black fighters. I seen how Eddie Hearn signed King Kong Ortiz to shelve him. I see how Eddie Hearn made AJ sign a lifetime contract, and we don't know what the hell that's about. Eddie Hearn is the worst matchmaker I've ever seen. Check the references, man. How many fighters he had on his roster that got beat in fights that weren't supposed to get beaten in? and Boots took his ass over there. So what I speak about Boots is concerned. So let me tell you my response to know why _Ville. I said Boots made a horrible business decision. I want what's best for the brother, when clearly Hearn does not. You can attempt to insult me if you like, but the difference between you and I is I want brothers like Boots, Devin, Bud, Errol, and Deontay continued success. And my opinion on Boots is out of concern, not hate. Don't be upset with me, good brother. Pray for Boots. I got him smoking Zayas. How about you? So what I did there was I diffused him, because sometimes you got to exercise some patience. So I did that. His response was, I'm always for fighters getting more money, but I'm pretty sure Boots is doing okay as far as that. Let me stop right there. We don't know that. And it's Eddie Hearn. And I don't trust that, but I'll continue. He's already former unified, lineal champ, and headed for it again at 154. We don't know that. There's a guy up there named Sebastian Fundora. We don't know that. I still think it's very weird to criticize a guy over some contract, but if you care that much, there's an obvious answer. You should convince Haney to stop handling the knowledge, good brother, problem solved. I'm sorry, he said hoarding the knowledge. Why choose to be a gatekeeper when you can just leave the gate open? You see what he just did? Now it's Bill's fault for not reaching out to fighters and showing them how to run their own business. Did this nigga just gaslight the fuck out of me? Or he tried to? So now it's Bill's fault. It's Bill's fault that Bud took his ass over there. It's Bill's fault that, I don't know, Shakur came out the Olympics with a silver medal and went to top rank. That's Bill's fault, things like that. So here's my response. We don't know what Boots is doing financially. We don't know what Boots is doing financially. All I know is that I trust Hearn. All I know is that to trust Hearn is ridiculous. As far as Haney is concerned, hoarding information is a reach. What is Haney supposed to do? Reach out to these dudes? They can speak the bill anytime they want. The issue is that all of these black fighters would rather work with the non-black than their own. I look at AJ. He generated all that money versus Jake Paul, but he had to give up over 50% of it. That's the God's honest truth. And 50% of that probably went to Hearn. But Boots still went over there. Why? When he could have learned to promote himself. Why didn't he go to Bill and ask how to run his own business instead of going to the colonizer? That is not Bill's fault. Boots has to own that, not Bill. His response, you're right. We don't know what the particulars of Boots and AJ's deal was with Hearn. That's why it's not worth talking about. And it's damn sure not worth criticizing them over. Is Hearn a snake? Looks like it to me, but it's snakes everywhere in business. Now here he go saying, okay, he's a snake, but everybody's a snake. More reason why you should be independent. He says, and yes, Haney should have reached out to all fighters and explained that he might have that they might be missing out on. Folks don't know what they don't know. What's stopping him from getting online and explaining all the loopholes he's found? From outside looking in, absolutely nothing. It's just a weirdo power trip.
Let me stop right there and just answer that simply and succinctly. Because when you're good at something, you don't do it for free.
Thank you. And
now,
I mentioned that.
Nobody suggested to these guys like Bitchins and some of the others to get on national televised apps, international televised apps, and say F the Haneys.
Mm-hmm.
And F you, Bill, specifically. Or for other curmudgeons who go out there and tell people on social media, when I see him, I'll slap him.
Come on.
You see, who haven't you heard talk about slapping Ed Hearn or Frank Warren or Bob Arum?
Talk to him.
You see, who? have you heard talking about slapping those guys? And
Nobody.
another thing, if you look at what Bill has accrued with what he's doing, he's been able to not only set an example that enlightenment will follow and people who can see the light can follow, but those who are bound by their own ignorance will be subjected to what's awaiting them. Anthony Joshua, Jerron Boots Ennis, Connor Ben, you're watching it unfold before you. All you have to do is look at his body of work. He has ruined more fighters than he has helped progress and elevate. It's obvious. There are fighters out here, even in the women's division of boxing, who have been damaged by Hearn and being involved with him. Yeah. And see, but nobody wants to talk about that. The body of work. Your work precedes you. You could talk about him being a snake all you want to. Allegedly, there was a snake in the Garden of Eden, right?
Sure was.
But that didn't stop people from obeying what the snake had to offer with their charms. So, in saying this, Bill was there. It's not a two-way street in business. When you need an attorney, does the attorney come knocking on your door?
Oh, come on, Stormy. Now you preaching.
You have to seek, research, look up, see what their track record is, how they, especially specific to your case. Hearn has taken Boots away from his birthright in boxing, which was to be the next undisputed champion at welterweight.
Here we go.
Hearn talked him out of it. That was his goal, his objective. And from day one, when they got together, he was somewhere telling the media and the scribes that I want to be the man. I'm my weight is good. I can do this, blah, blah, blah. Hearn is like, we're going to see who we can test at 154. You know, they on a different page. Where were you all talking about that? And guess what? Just because he's getting ready to challenge this young man, Xander Zayas, at 154, doesn't mean he's going to be at 154 what he was at 147.
There you go. This
Because
is a problem.
if you look at his body of work, he was pulling up a lot of smaller guys that he was beating the crap out of. Fouling with punches behind the head, pinpoint shot thrown behind the ear, and all of this stuff. But if you know what you're looking at when you watch boxing, you would be able to see that, not the glitz and the glamour and the false fur that he wears when he takes his ass into the ring. See, I see it all. You don't, because you got glitter and stardust in your eyes. But I'm going to tell you this. Xander is a young boy that's at 154, and he's going up to higher weights because he's 23 years old.
Yep.
How old is Boots? He's 28.
Yep.
He's smack in the middle of a prime that Xander ain't even reached yet. Boots needed a tune-up, a lima bean, if you want to call it, when he moved to 154. Someone you had never even heard of. He didn't ask for the likes of the contenders at that weight. What's the young man, Ramos Jr. and those guys? He didn't ask for that. He didn't ask for Brian Mendoza and those guys. He didn't even ask for Tim Tszyu, and Tim Tszyu was looking to fight anybody. So, what's up with that? In other words, the track record that Hearn runs, and Drew had already talked this out and pointed it out, that Conor Benn was going to be in the works.
That's right.
Until he pulled a fast one on Ed Hearn.
And left, yeah.
So now that's kind of off the table. But this Zayas thing, don't put all your socks in one boot, because you're going to probably end up recognizing that you got sandals on with no steel toes to protect your feet.
Y'all didn't hear me when I said, hold on a second. Young Lion in the building, 503 Line, go subscribe to my family.
Salute.
Y'all didn't hear me say that Eddie Hearn is a horrible matchmaker, right? And I want y'all to consider this. I want Boots' continued success. Him versus Devin Haney at 47 was continued success. But now he's up at 54. And I don't care what y'all say. He could go in there and smoke Zayas. He could. But it's boxing, y'all. We thought Mike Tyson was going to smoke Buster Douglas, didn't we? We thought Roy Jones was going to smoke Antonio Tarver in a rematch, didn't we? And I can go on and on and on. Didn't we? And I just said, Hearn is a horrible matchmaker. Now he's going up there. He could take 2 belts from Xander Zayas. Or not. And if he gets past Zayas, you know they're going to throw Fundora at him. All of a sudden, the Haney fight looks a little more safer for you, right? But y'all don't play it safe, right? Okay, remember you said that. Let me go back to what this dude was typing at me. I said, hold up, how is it Haney's fault for not reaching out when all you hear is negative from people who look just like him? The issue is black people don't respect their own. That's what Stormy just said. This is why Boots is with Hearn and not independent. If he wanted to get educated, why didn't he just ask Bill how to do it? But he goes to Hearn, who's a known snake? That's just disgusting. So you think it was Bill who was supposed to reach out to fighters and educate them when they're resistant to him in this atmosphere? Because all I hear is about, I'm going to fuck Bill up and fuck Bill and fuck this and motherfuck Bill and Bill. But he's supposed to be reaching out to those people talking crazy about him. Yo, let me show you how to run your own business. F you, Bill. You just want me to stay away from your son. I said, you know what? This is a topic to discuss. I will do it on my stream and I will want you to join. Now, here we go. So I extended an olive branch to him because I wanted him to pull up. He says, I think you're starting to splinter into things that don't matter like that. So now he done talked to me all this time, and now he's saying these things don't matter. To your nobody likes Haney point, if people don't seem to like him, maybe he's a little awkward and aggressive or too aggressive. You hear this dude? This dude's talking more and more. I think he's raised by a single mom. I wouldn't know, and I low-key don't care. Of course, this is a Boots fan. This guy's from Philly. And I'm not putting it on the city of Philly, but you're capping for Boots a little too much. Because I'm talking about something that eclipses Boots. I want Boots' continued success, and being with Hearn, who's a horrible matchmaker and doesn't have his best interests in mind. That's my concern. He says, even if it's possible to find him unlikable, he can still be very useful to those same folks if he chooses. So now all of this is Bill's fault, right? Back to the gatekeeper point. If the man wants to help any fighter become more independent, he can always just reach out and help. Again, now it's Bill's fault, right? Or, like I already said, just post it online. This dude is crazy. It ain't hard. I gotta be, what do you say? It ain't that hard, good brother. I did notice that you skipped that part. Now, will I be debuting what he says on your channel over Haney, the gatekeeper convo? So now he's insulting me and insulting Devin or Bill. No, that makes no sense. I gotta be on my own platform before I'm anywhere else. Maybe down the road, good brother, it's chicken wraps. So I responded to him. I said, cool, we'll discuss it. I will drop the link. and we can have a conversation. You're way off, but I will give you the space and opportunity to prove your point. You sound like an articulate hater, an unconditional Boots fanatic, which makes you a Hearn apologist by default, which is a recipe for disaster. Stand on your square and let's talk about it tomorrow. Either way, I'll help you become internet famous by posting this entire discussion. Boots has zero accountability and somehow it's DHP's fault. Laughing emoji. Enjoy the chicken wraps because it speaks volumes about your lack of heart. Like everyone on Devin's list, which includes Boots. Shots fired. Now, I said all that to say this. What's your name? No why _Ville. You're not blocked. Make yourself known right now. Because I want to talk to you. Or is it chicken wraps? Isn't chicken wraps like Boots? Because Boots was supposed to stay at 47 and fight Devin. Now, I gave him a lot of leeway. And I kind of like put it on Eddie Hearn and say, yeah, you know, Eddie just took him out of that, whatever. But Boots said he wanted to be undisputed at welterweight until Devin got there. Boots was supposed to fight Brian Norman Jr. and what happened? Did Devin not come up to 47 and take care of that work for him? So why did Boots leave? Don't talk to me about he couldn't make the weight. Devin was at 135 for like damn near 6 or 7 years. That was never his weight. So, Mr. What's your name? No why. At KNOWYY. I'm sorry. WHY_VILL. Make yourself known, young man. Let's have a conversation. I want the smoke. You're off. You're wrong. You're a Boots apologist, and you're what you call an articulate hater. And I don't believe you. I think you're full of shit. Now it's Bill's fault that these dudes are running amok. You listen, Cameron Duncan, I play the soundbite all the time. There is a no black fighter rule at Top Rank. Where did Shakur go? Right out the Olympics? You look at Eddie Hearn's track record. Why is Boots over there? And that's Bill's fault. Put it online. Rules of the game by Bill Haney. Meanwhile, everyone's somebody gonna slap Bill Haney. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Nobody said, I'm gonna fuck Eddie Hearn up when I see him. I'm gonna slap Bob Arum when I see him. I'm gonna punch Oscar De La Hoya. You ain't gonna do that. You know why? Say what you want, but Oscar will punch it back. So I know you're gonna, Bernard Hopkins, same thing. Those guys are retired fighters, Hall of Fame fighters. So you ain't gonna do that. Frank Warren, anyone? You ain't gonna hit him? But Bill, you're gonna do this and do that and do this and do that and do this and do that. So young man, make yourself known. You're not blocked. I left you unblocked for a reason. Now, when this live goes up, if you comment, I'm blocking you because you're a coward. I want that smoke. There's 110 people in here. Smash my like button. We got about another 20 minutes. Take y'all ass to Rumble right now. Because now I'm about to take the gloves off. We're ending it on YouTube. We're going to Rumble right now. The link is pinned. The link is pinned. Go to Rumble now. Go to Rumble, not now, but right now. Go to Rumble now. The link is pinned at the Painful Excellence podcast, and it's pinned on Drew Titan LLC. Go to Rumble right now.